Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Everybody, not back. Good to be back. Want to go ahead and do a little bit of a follow-up from a game that we talked about on Saturday here on the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel, and that is the Colorado-Arizona game. So if you listen to this channel, or if you just watch college football, you know what happened in Tucson, Arizona. Colorado came in as a slight underdog, thought the wrong team was favored all week. Did not think we would get the result that we got Saturday, though, as Colorado destroyed Arizona. Final score 34-7. That Colorado defense was unbelievable. We're not going to spend too much time looking back at the game, but it's worth noting that Colorado defense was flying. Shiloh Sanders had a sack early that set the tone. Colorado finishes with 7 TFLs, 7 sacks. It was obvious pretty much 2-3 possessions in that Arizona had no real shot against Arizona, wasn't competitive late. And here's the crazy part. I don't even think Colorado played its best football. Shedeur was good. Shedeur Sanders was good. I don't think it was his best game. Now, part of it is you didn't have Travis Hunter in the second half. You certainly hope that he's okay. But I just bring it up to very simply say that this is the sign of a good football team, an ascending football team, and a program that is absolutely going in the right direction when you do not play your best football. By the way, that's not a knock on Shedeur. I just know what he's capable of. He's the best quarterback in college football as far as I'm concerned, or at least he's 1-1A with Cam Ward. But the bottom line is when you don't play your best game and you still win by 27 on the road in a league game, it kind of shows me that you're a pretty good football team. You're going in the right direction, as we said on Saturday, the best kind of win for Coach Prime. The kind of win where you get the W, it's never in doubt, but there's also things that you can work on during the week where you can go back to the guys in the film room and say, hey, this, and this needs to get cleaned up if we want to start winning. So we talked about it. I said again on Saturday, yes, Colorado is very much a Big 12 title contender. Now, there's some stuff at the top. Ironically, they don't play BYU or Iowa State, who, of course, are the 2 undefeated teams in the league. But right now, as I've said, they're a contender. I believe they're one of the top 25 teams in college football, no doubt. But I was kind of curious, and what I want to talk about today is this, I was kind of curious, would Colorado actually get the credit that they deserve after this win, right? Because you go back to last year, listen, we all got caught up in the hysteria early in the season, the 3-0 start. You beat the defending national runners-up in TCU. But the second that things went sideways, it felt like everybody was ready to pile on Colorado the second things went bad. Well, I bring it up because now Colorado is playing good football. Colorado is very clearly a very good team, a very well-coached team. And I was curious, is anyone actually going to give Colorado credit? And so I want to dive in because Saturday it felt like, or are people actually going to talk about this? But come Sunday, come Monday, a lot of people, including me, well, listen, I've been on Coach Prime's, side for pretty much the entire time, but outside of me is what I really should say. It finally feels like people are starting to wake up. People are starting to realize this is a really, really good football team that is absolutely ascending and headed in the right direction. I want to get to some of the quotes from throughout the weekend. First of all, this was a tweet that I put out that seems to have gone pretty viral. For those of you who saw it or shared it, I appreciate your support. I put this out. Since losing to Nebraska, Colorado has destroyed Colorado State, UCF, and Arizona. They beat Baylor. Their only loss was against the league favorite, which is Kansas State, without their top 2 wide receivers. That was Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter. Now, you could argue DeJounte Wester's in there. So 2 of your top 3 receivers, if not your top 2, your top corner, and they led with 5 minutes to go. No, and this is what I added. No one likes giving Deion credit for anything, but he's been awesome this season. So I put that out there. A lot of Colorado fans found it. I appreciate your support. By the way, Colorado fans, I really appreciate your support because there's a chance I could be interviewing somebody in the program later this week. We'll get to that later in the week, but I want to get to some of the other stuff that popped up because after I put out this tweet, I saw another tweet that was very similar. Manuel Acho, like me, works at Fox Sports. He's on the TV side. I'm on the radio side. I don't know him, but I respect him. Puts out this tweet. Good morning, beautiful people. This was obviously on Sunday morning. Good morning, beautiful people. Two things have become undeniably true. Deion Sanders can coach. Colorado is 5-2 and firmly in striking position to win the Big 12. Shedeur Sanders is the most pro-ready quarterback in college football. Have a wonderful day. Love that from Acho. Again, don't know Acho, but I think he's right on point on both those things. Shedeur, we've talked about a ton. He's the best quarterback in college football. Don't give me Quinn Ewers. Don't give me this. Don't give me that. By the way, for the non-Colorado fans that are going to see this and say, well, how would he do in the SEC? Well, I don't know. Give him an entire NFL offensive line. That's no disrespect to the guys at Colorado. But Texas, every single guy on that offensive line is going to play in the NFL. And it's the same at Georgia. So any of these places that you're saying, well, let's see what he would do against great competition. He would, frankly, to be transparent, have a better O-line, but that's neither here nor there. But also, I want to go back to the media stuff, because in addition to my comments, in addition to Emmanuel Acho's, let's keep it going. There was a couple other ones that I saw. Paul Feinbaum, who's never afraid to give controversial opinions or just say something either mean-spirited or whatever. This is what he said about Coach Prime earlier on, I think it was Sunday morning. He said we should be appreciating and complimenting Deion Sanders for what he has done on the field. I also saw Stephen A. Smith say if Deion Sanders gets this team to 8-9 wins and they are in a bowl game, ladies and gentlemen, you are looking at the National Coach of the Year. So look, National Coach of the Year, we could get to that down the road. There's a lot of good candidates, starting with Kurt Cignetti at Indiana. But to me, I am so happy that people are finally starting to realize and finally starting to appreciate Coach Prime knows what the heck he's doing. This isn't glitz. This isn't glamour. This isn't for show. This isn't to get his sons to the pros. This guy knows what he's doing. And I'll say this about how we have covered Coach Prime here on the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. For the most part, that's been my talking point from the beginning. I remember saying this the winter that he took over at Colorado, and all anybody said was, oh, he's just doing this for the marketing or the promotions or whatever. I'm like, the guy went 23-3 his last 2 years at Jackson State. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to build a roster. He knows how to coach. I was confident in them in the offseason. Now, I will admit, because I know people are going to try to pull the Torres is a flip-flopper. I will admit, after Nebraska, I did say this team does not look significantly better than a year ago. That's on me. I got to own it. But I've also come on this channel and acknowledged that essentially since the Colorado State game. And it goes back to what I said a minute ago, is that if you take out that Nebraska game or include the Nebraska game, because think about the Nebraska game. Sometimes you got to get your butt kicked to get your mind right and realize that you got a lot to work on. By the way, you think Texas doesn't have an extra chip on its shoulder this week at practice after getting their butt kicked by Georgia on Saturday? Of course they do. And so I only bring it up to very simply say that, like, sometimes getting your butt kicked isn't the worst thing. This isn't the 4-team college football playoff era anymore, or the BCS era where you can't afford to take a loss. You can in this era, and sometimes a good butt kicking is good. But look at what has happened to Colorado since the Nebraska game. You think about the post-Nebraska situation. You are living in a world where, again, as I said, you destroyed Colorado State. You destroyed UCF. Baylor, yes, it was a close game, but I've talked about it a million times. They gave up an ugly kickoff return for a touchdown, and it's like you just take out that kickoff return. It's a different game, and Colorado really in the second half was actually the better team. Pretty much Baylor jumped out early. Colorado was better in the second half. Baylor has the lead. Shedeur hits the deep pass, whatever. Then you destroy UCF, and you go back to the Kansas State game. Listen, ask Kansas State what it was like to play Colorado. They went man for man, toe for toe. Remember, we talked about it last week. No Travis Hunter, no Jimmy Horn, no Travis Hunter on defense. Shiloh Sanders is coming back from injury. That might be the best team in the league. It's one of the highest ranked teams in the league. And so I just bring it up because this team is clearly improving. And let me say this. The best might be yet to come for this team, because let's go ahead and pull up the rest of Colorado's schedule. Okay. You look at Colorado's schedule. They're sitting at 5-2 right now. They really haven't played what I would deem a bad game since the second week of the season at Nebraska. As I said, destroyed Colorado, beat Baylor, destroyed UCF. The Kansas State game, as many injuries as they had, they were leading with 5 minutes to go in that game. And if Travis Hunter is out there, if Shiloh Sanders is at 100%, I don't think Kansas State gets that victory. And so because of it, I just go back to what I've said a minute ago, I've said all along. Look at this schedule. There are 5 games left on the schedule. Listen, I'm not putting the cart before the horse, but I think there is a scenario where they win out. They play Cincinnati this weekend. Cincinnati's a good team sitting at 5-2. Here's the bottom line, though. Cincinnati is coming off back-to-back close games, narrow wins against UCF and Arizona State. They're playing backup quarterbacks in both games. Then you get a bye. You got to go to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a very tough place to play. At least it was until this weekend when Texas Tech just got smacked by Baylor. So, how good is Texas Tech? I know they're sitting at 5-2 and 3-1 in the league. That is a game that if Colorado wins, that's going to be kind of a de facto Big 12 championship elimination game. By the way, this is the cool part of the schedule. Colorado, to a degree, controls its own destiny in the Big 12 title chase because you look at the schedule. Cincinnati comes into this weekend 5-2 overall, 3-1 in the Big 12. You know who else is that way? Colorado. You win that, you have the leg up on Cincinnati. Then you play Texas Tech, which is currently 5-2, 3-1 in the Big 12. You win that, all of a sudden you're in very good position going into the final 3 games where you play a Utah team, which is just reeling. Their offensive coordinator just resigned. A Kansas team, which as we record right now here early in the week is 2-5, 1-3 in the Big 12, although they are coming off a win against Houston. And Oklahoma State, right up there amongst the most disappointing teams in college football. They're coming off of a loss. So 3 games that looked really hard on paper coming into the season, all of a sudden are 3 teams that are struggling. Again, Utah without their starting quarterback, Kansas, Oklahoma State among the most disappointing teams in college football. So you can't really sit there and say that Colorado controls its own fate and its own destiny because BYU and Iowa State are both undefeated in the league. And listen, if they win out, they're obviously going to the Big 12 championship game. Kansas State has the tiebreaker. But if Colorado keeps winning, stuff can happen, stuff may happen, stuff will happen. It's worth noting, by the way, Kansas State still has Iowa State on the schedule. Iowa State still has some tough games ahead. So I just bring it up because it feels like the media is finally figuring out this Colorado team might be pretty good. Credit to Paul Feinbaum for using his platform to acknowledge Coach Prime is doing a phenomenal job. Same with Emmanuel Acho, same with Stephen A. Smith. If you want to give your boy a little pat on the back, that's fine. What you could actually do is if you appreciate it, give me a subscribe. That would be phenomenal. You know what else you can do? We got our primetime tees right here. If you want to get one of these bad boys, go to aarontorresonline.com/merchandise. We'll throw a link in the description. aarontorresonline.com/merchandise. Shout out to Coach Prime, our primetime tees. Appreciate you. I appreciate Coach Prime for giving us something to talk about. He's been awesome. And this is just a fun story to follow. And I think the best might be yet to come.